Okay, I'm calling to order regular city council meeting for the city of Hayden, Idaho. It is Tuesday, January 13th, 2026, 5 p.m. May we get a roll call of council members, please?
Council President Roeder?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember DePriest?
Yep.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Thank you. Pledge of Allegiance. Sandy, would you like to lead us?
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I don't have any additions or corrections for the meeting tonight. We'll roll into consent, which consists of approving the December 9th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes, approving December 19th, 2025 City Council meeting minutes, approval to apply an authorized matching fund allocation for the State of Idaho Waterways Improvement Fund Grant for improvements to Honeysuckle Beach and Boat Launch, approval of Aviation First Edition Consolidation Plant, approval of 2026 the Peak Health and Wellness Center Contractual Services Agreement, approval of Lake City Law Engagement Letter for Civil Legal Services, approval of Welch Comers Hayden Avenue and Hutter Road Intersection Amendment 1, ratification of December payroll, approval of ratification for bills paid, and approval of 4 bills of payment. Lots of fours and abs. Any questions on the consent tonight?
I have one. if
Yes.
I may. It's 1F. It's the Lake City Law Engagement Letter for Civil Legal Services. I noticed that we have 2 rates, one for the attorney and one for paralegal. The attorney's for $290 an hour and the paralegals for $180. How does that compare to our current contract?
So the current rates are $225 per hour and for attorneys, and we have not increased that rate for 6 years, the entire time that I've been providing legal services to the city. It is significantly lower than private pay rates, which are around $400.
And what about paralegal?
I can't remember what that was. It might have been $150.
Okay,
but I
thank you.
can't-
I just wanted,
And for this record, I think it's good for council to know that when we went through budget development, we knew that these rate increases were coming and did plan for those.
thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I have a question. On item 1J, bills for payment, I'm sorry that I didn't bring this to you earlier, Lisa, but there is a line item in there where the vendor is the city of Hayden for the amount of $3,223.
I would have, there were some bills for payment that got approved by the finance director because I was gone, so I'd have to get back with you.
Okay, just want to
Likely though, it has something to do with when we're paying out of different funds, our enterprise funds and our general funds, if we're, that's.
It does say check for escrow, if that helps.
Escrow release, okay, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? Would I like to make a motion?
I move to approve the consent calendar as written.
Second?
Okay, any questions on the motion? Maybe get a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember DePriest?
Yes.
Council President Roeder?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Abby, do we have any public comments tonight?
None has been turned in.
Okay. All right, at this point in the meeting, I would like to acknowledge and ask for a moment of silence. One of our city's most significant servants, Roger Satterfield, passed this last weekend. Roger was on city council from 2007 to 2023, and until his last time around, ran unopposed. Before that, he was on planning and zoning. Roger, to me, represents the kind of citizen whose impact is felt long and far beyond their time with us. So if you would join me for just a moment of silence, thank you. Okay, we're going to move, if we have no visitor public comments, we've got an oath of office to do, but before we do that, I want to let the crowd know, one cannot help but notice that our mood shifts this time of year to a more tribal model. Of course, I'm talking about the NFL playoffs. It's a time when otherwise reasonable people suddenly become very certain about their team. Tonight, we have many people in attendance. Some are here to thank our departing council member for her service. Others are here to wish our re-elected council member continued success. And still several are here to meet and congratulate Hayden's newest council member. But tonight is also a good night to remind all Hayden residents that while we may cheer for different teams, we all belong to one tribe, and that is the tribe of our city. And while we may have different ideas about some finer details, everyone that sits on this dais shares the same goals to ensure that Hayden remains a strong and welcoming community. So with that, Sandy, if you'd like to join me, I have a little presentation for you.
Thank you.
This is in recognition of your service to the city of Hayden for being a city council.
Thank you so much.
Take a picture.
Sorry, you have to hold it a little longer. Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you
that's
so
great.
much. What a blessing.
Yes. Okay, next, we're going to read the oath of office for City Council Seat 2, which is occupied by Ed DePriest. Abby? Ed? Is it better if I get out of the way? You sure?
Yeah, you'll just be in the shot.
I don't know if I want that.
I go ahead and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Idaho, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of council member of the City of Hayden according to the best of your ability?
We do.
Congratulations.
Okay, Abby stays, and up comes David Erickson, City Council Seat 4, to be sworn in.
Go ahead and raise your right hand. David, do you solemnly swear or affirm to support, that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Idaho, and that you will faithfully discharge the duties of council member of the City of Hayden according to the best of your ability?
I do.
All right, congratulations.
Okay, we're going to take a 3-minute recess for some logistics, and then we'll resume. I think I misused that word, but that's all right. What? Logistics.
That's fine.
Well, it's getting from something from one place to another.
Choreography?
Choreography. Ed, was that okay?
Yeah, that was great. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, we're calling the meeting back to order, resuming. We're going to start off with a public hearing. Our first action item tonight, which is PZE 250102, Arts King Sod Zone Map Amendment Request. This is an applicant-initiated amendment request, and I believe for the record, we are recusing our new council member.
Yeah, Council Member Erickson will need to recuse himself based on the fact that he was a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission that voted on this action at the Planning and Zoning.
Okay?
You
And-
need to remove yourself and go to the back of the room.
Well, that was quick.
He told you you were gonna.
See
How did
something
it
warm.
feel for 2 minutes?
All right, so
If
for
you
the,
haven't heard my lecture before, you cannot make any faces, you can't snort, comment,
Snort.
sniff, shake your head, sigh, groan, moan.
all right, so for the public, we're going to introduce the subject case. The applicant will present, then the staff will present. And if we have any public comment, that will happen. And then we'll have an applicant rebuttal and close the public hearing. So Donna, please.
So we generally do naming conventions that are the last name of the property owner, hence the Arts. But the business on the location site is King Sod. That's why we kind of are referring to this as both. So this is the Arts King Sod Zone Map Amendment, as the mayor already identified. So some background, the property was annexed in 1991 by Ordinance 204, and it was zoned agricultural. The property is located at the north of the Spokane International Railroad line, and it's south of East Lancaster Road and east of North Hutter Road. And we'll get a graphic up here shortly. The applicant entered into a deferred development agreement at the time of the building permit because the roundabout at that intersection of Lancaster and Hutter was in design and development, and it was being constructed. So trying to do frontage improvements prior to that time would have been difficult. The remainder of the unconstructed frontage improvements are required to be completed as part of the off-site infrastructure. So when you're looking at a map and you're on the corner of Lancaster running east and west and Hutter running north and south, you have a funny, weird little triangular piece of property that kind of is surrounded by roads and railroad tracks. And then I would go into my analysis.
Donna, can I ask a question real quick?
Yes.
If you would pull that map back up.
I can.
Can you point to the piece of land that is currently in the city that this would be adjacent to?
City limits are south.
Thank you.
So their county is to the north, all the other three corners.
Thank you.
Rathdrum is due west. All right, so with that, we have the applicants, the arts and folks that'll be here to present, and they kind of worked all together the last time. I assume you guys are all going to work together this time. And so we'll bring up their presentation and they can present their application. It's all yours.
Thanks, Donna. Introduce ourselves again.
Yeah. I'm Justin Arts,
I'm Wilson McSwain.
and we're just going to go over kind of what the requirements are to request this and why we think we fit that application request, and so we'll just kind of get right into it.
Yeah, so the overview, as Donna had said, is our request is to rezone the King Sod property from agricultural, its current zoning, to the light industrial zoning. And we feel as we go through our presentation that it supports the economic development of the area. It aligns with the future land use map and promotes the responsible growth of that area of the city of Hayden.
The existing zoning is agricultural, and it no longer aligns with the surrounding development trends. The area is transitioning to commercial and light industrial uses, and the existing plans support this land use change. So there is sufficient basis for approval for that change.
When it comes to public health, safety, and welfare, through working with the city and lots of conversations, the light industrial zoning encourages clean, low-impact uses. And we feel, working with the city, that they've ensured there many buffers, the traffic mitigation for the area, our stormwater controls on our property. Through surveys and studies, in conclusion, we see that it promotes the public good and the responsible growth for that area of the city of Hayden.
This zone change is consistent with the comprehensive plan. Currently, the future land use map does designate this location for employment/light industrial. It supports economic diversification and infrastructure efficiency. So what we are requesting is fully consistent with the comprehensive plan policies.
The zone district purpose and intent, coming alongside the future use plan, the light industrial zone is intended for low-impact industrial use and employment uses. So we are not bringing in giant manufacturing eyesores and nose sores to the city. We're bringing in more employment into the city of Hayden. Our property is well-suited based on size, located in the city. We have developed our property with the light industrial zoning in mind. And so in conclusion, we see that it has a clear alignment with the light industrial intent.
For some neighborhood context, the area is shifting from agricultural to an industrial commercial. The light industrial zoning creates compatibility and buffers between the differing uses. So in conclusion, it does match the current emerging neighborhood conditions that surround the properties.
And in final summary, through working with the city of Hayden and Panhandle Health Department and all of these, wonderful people we worked with, we see it meets all the required approval standards. It supports logical, compatible growth and economical development, and we're here with the recommendation of the approval of the zone map amendment. That's the last slide.
Questions? Tom?
Sure, yeah. I noticed where your company address is in Rathdrum. And I recall that as your website says, you deliver sod products. How is this little piece of land, which it appears to be non-contiguous to your current property, fit into your business model?
It actually fits our current business model quite well, because although the location that we are on is 10 acres, we use about 1.5 acres of it. We don't actually grow the sod on location. We grow it at farms west of here, and so it's just a place for us to facilitate customers to pick up sod and for us to load trucks and deliver them out. And our footprint is actually going to be very consistent with what our existing footprint is there on Memory Lane.
Okay. My other question, this is just piqued my curiosity. When I looked on the GIS map, I saw that you back up to a parcel owned by the Missouri Improvement Company. Now, I didn't know anything about them, so I just Googled it. And they focus on developing processing infrastructure for hemp industry in the Midwest United States. Did I get the right company or owner? And
That's a great question.
I'm just kind of curious.
It did recently change, I do believe.
It is a recent change. Through talking to some of the railway employees, there was thought of some sort of transfer station or other railway stuff going in there, and it has just recently changed hands. So I did see the name on the map, but I didn't do any research to see what that was.
And in the piece that you're referring to, it's that strip of trees between our property and the railroad.
Yeah.
We don't own it. We don't have any say in it. We weren't part of that sale or anything like that. So
Okay, well-
who owns it now and what they do, I'm unfamiliar with.
Doesn't matter to you guys.
Yeah,
Hopefully it
no.
doesn't affect us.
Yeah, hopefully someday they sell it to us.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Nope. Matt?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I think people have heard about the Hutter bypass for 20, 30 years. How's that being considered in your business model here? How could that affect your property? Or have you considered the effects of the possibility of the Hutter bypass right in front of your property?
Yeah, so when my wife Heather and I bought the property, I've lived in this area since 1996, and I think it's been talked about since 1996. So it was the 2020 plan. Back then, I think it was the 2000 plan. I don't know. It's been around, so it's something I'm very familiar with. When I used to work in government, it's something that we talked about. So when we looked at the property, I think there's two lenses that I looked at it through. One, if the bypass took out our property, that would be something that we would have to consider. The way our business is modeled, it would just mean we'd have to find a new location. It's not like we're a delivery service, so to speak, so we just have to find a new hub. But we actually looked at it as we would be in support of the Hutter bypass, because when you looked at what the plan was as far as an exit goes, Lancaster Road is one of the only exits for that whole area, and so it would actually bring more traffic past our business, so to speak, and so we would see it as people would see us more often. We'd get more roadside traffic that would know we exist, so we would see it as a benefit.
So it wouldn't shut your business down if you had to lose that property, so to say, because Hutter bypass took up 20% of it or something?
No, no.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, looks like that's the gauntlet.
Okay, cool. Thank you, guys, appreciate it. So this is a summary of the staff analysis that is in Board Book. The first two standards of approval have to do with whether or not there needs to be any additional studies done or plans reviewed. And the second condition has to do with whether any additional conditions would have to be attached to this zone map amendment request. And so based on the applicant's proposal, staff did not believe, nor did Planning and Zoning Commission in their recommendation, believe that any additional studies, plans, or conditions were necessary. The third standard has to do with any amendment to the zoning map has to be in accordance with the future land use map and the goals and policies found in the Hayden Comprehensive Plan. And this is actually the future land use map of the last comprehensive plan, because this request came in prior to the city council approving the comprehensive plan. So we're under the old comprehensive plan when we did the review of this. And as identified, this corner is identified in that map as a light industrial future land use. And then part of the goals and policies that existed in that plan identified that the city should encourage development within the corporate limits of the city of Hayden. They should provide a balance of commercial uses in designated areas throughout the city, centered on established transportation corridors, while protecting the character of adjacent land uses. They should ensure all development can be serviced by existing public facilities or extended to adequately serve that. They should establish a balance between jobs and housing to attract new employment and living opportunities. And we need to ensure that ordinances and policies don't violate private property rights or adversely impact property values or create unnecessary limitations on that land use. And then policies that could be potentially looked at. Development should be compatible with the land use chapter of the comprehensive plan. We should be able to promote nodes of development along transportation corridors. We should be able to encourage rezoning to support the creation of those strategic nodes. And then also transitions between residential and industrial uses. Should be able to encourage small-scale retail activities, restaurants and other service businesses to create that mixture of commercial and residential uses. And we need to ensure that land uses and zoning compatibility related to development near the airport is reviewed as well. All of the comprehensive goals and comprehensive plan goals and policies are part of the staff analysis. Because whenever anybody reads this, you might pull another one that would be appropriate.
So the amendment to the zoning map and zone text shall align with the zone district's purpose and intent is the fourth standard. So agriculture identifies that you should provide for large undeveloped lots primarily used for farming and agricultural pursuits. And light industrial provides for a light manufacturing, processing, and distribution and wholesale retail sales in an environment that is clean, quiet, free of noise, odor, dust, and smoke. So the City of Hayden's current zone map identifies this as well as the area to the south and to the east as being agriculture. Infrastructure on the subject site is on a private well. Panhandle Health District granted a septic permit as a condition of the building permit that was issued on the site. The dry utilities are installed or shall be installed with development. The dedications of the right-of-way occurred with the intersection project, and the access locations to the site have been approved as part of that intersection project in order to reduce conflict points. And then the fifth standard of approval is that the amendment to the zoning map and zone text shall be consistent with the neighborhood context. This is looking at both today as well as in the future. So the neighborhood today is that north of this site is the Harbs Land Application Site. Bounded to the south is that Spokane International Railroad, and at the time of application, the Spokane International Railroad owned both those properties, both the right-of-way that they have their line in, as well as the piece of property that Councilmember Schaefer brought up. Directly adjacent west and north, KMPO classified these two roads, both Lancaster and Hutter, as arterials. West is a home site with farm accessory structures, and farther west is farmland, and then to the southeast is also farmland. So pictures are worth 1,000 words. So as you're facing southwest from the project site, you'll see that home site, the existing accessory structures for the farmland and the grain silos. Facing west from the project site, you see a hay truck and Rathdrum to the west. Oops, keep going. Facing east from the project site, you'll see that the project is pretty much cleared. And the trees along here are part of that existing other piece of property. And to the north is the Harbs Land Application Site. This is facing north from the project site. And then as you're looking at this site here, you also have the airport and the airport protection zones that this one is not a part of. It's not in any of those runway protection zones. And Rathdrum to the west. Out. Public agency and public comments that have been received. As you can see, we received, we usually send out between 18 and 20 agency notices. The ones that received comments back from, virtually most of them said no comments at this point or on this proposal or at this time. Northern Lakes Fire Protection District always has comments related to future development, and any non-residential site goes to the fire department for review as part of the building permit process and or subdivision process. The Planning and Zoning Commission, at the conclusion of their deliberations at their November 14th meeting, recommended approval of the request to change the zone from agricultural to light industrial. Those are the 5 standards of approval and motions should the City Council choose to move forward.
Questions for Donna?
I have one if.
Okay.
So I understand the lot size is 1.73 acres, and that Panhandle Health approved for a septic system, which means drain field and so I guess maybe you could help me understand. I know that because it's over the aquifer, the county has a 5-acre requirement for a septic system for residents. So why can they have a septic system that's a lot smaller than 5 acres? Can you help me with that?
That's a great question.
Panhandle Health District found that they met the requirements that they laid out for their requirements to issue them a septic permit. They recognized that there wasn't any sanitary sewer provided by anybody in that far out at this point in time. Would you have anything additional to add, Bonnie?
No, Panhandle Health District has jurisdiction to issue that septic permit. We do not.
Okay, just curious, because it seems like the idea is to protect the aquifer with 5 acres with the residents. So I guess that's really, if Panhandle Health approves it, then they have jurisdiction, and so therefore, it's approved.
It is.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
Good question, Matt. Any other questions? Okay, we're going to move on to public comment. Do we have any public comment forms?
No public comment.
Does anyone in the audience want to offer any testimony? Okay, hearing none. So now we move on to applicant's rebuttal. So this would be, if you want to, the time to address any questions that council brought up during the staff presentation. You can't bring up anything new, and you're not compelled to necessarily testify either way. So what would you just like to do?
I can answer the septic if you care to know.
Step up, please. Thanks.
Because the lot is smaller than 5 acres, that was a concern of ours prior to even applying for it. When that law went into effect there, I forget the year that took place. This piece of property was broken into this 1.73 acres prior to that law, so Panhandle Health still allowed it to happen, meaning it didn't get made smaller after they said you have to have 5 acres for the septic. So it's because it was, this lot lines were created prior to that rule.
It was grandfathered in,
Correct,
basically, is
sir.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
So that had to do with,
Yes,
thank you.
that's all I have.
Okay. We're going to close the public hearing now. And council, are you going to proceed with deliberations?
I'll go ahead and make a motion.
Okay, well, is there any deliberation you want to do prior to motion?
They can deliberate after the
Yeah,
motion and the
deliberate after the
Okay.
motion.
All right, just asking.
Yeah, I move to approve PZE 250102 Arts King Sod Zone Map Amendment request, finding the request is in accordance with the standards of Hayden City Code based upon testimony received at the Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council public hearing and the record of the request.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion being made or any other deliberation? Well, I guess that's to be related to the motion now.
Yeah, I'd like to make just a comment on it. What I do like about this is, from the city's standpoint, the amount of taxes property taxes we would receive or have been receiving as ag land is really small. Whereas when you go into a light industrial, I'm assuming there's going to be, well, I saw some improvements happening already. That means those improvements will create more taxes for the city. So from that point of view, it's a good decision.
Okay, thank you, Matt. Anybody else?
Mr. Mayor, I just want to make the comment that when I was reviewing this, and keeping in mind that we just recently went through an update in our future land use map, I was trying to picture how this would fit into the future neighborhood context. Even though I acknowledge that you're grandfathered in, but what I came to the conclusion was this is such an odd piece of property in a perfect location for what we call those business nodes that I think this is an appropriate revision of the zoning law for this.
Okay.
I just want to make this a comment.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Council President Roder,
Yes.
and Councilmember DePreez.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. We're going to move on to 4B, which
Your
is,
council member can rejoin you.
oh, do we want to invite David back up? Council? David, come on up.
He might actually want to participate at some point.
Welcome back.
Thank you. How was your travels?
That's great.
All right, we're going to move on to PZ 240133, North Government Way, and Bilek Enterprises annexation request. So this is a city-initiated annexation request.
Mayor, I know the folks, and there's no, I don't have a conflict of interest, but it's Bilek.
Is it Bilek?
Yeah, it's Bilek. So
Thank you.
Just for the record.
All right, thank you. And so, like the last public hearing, staff's going to present. Then we'll have public comment, if there is any, and then council will deliberate and decide.
So tonight, we're having a public hearing to look at the potential annexation of right-of-way along North Government Way, and then 3 additional pieces of property west of North Government Way. So an agency notice related to a project adjacent to the North Government Way was sent out, and as part of that agency comment, we received a request back from Lakes Highway District, who is the owner of that right-of-way, shown in blue, that it was time for the city, should this other project move forward, for the city to, they would respectfully request that the city annex that. And so the city recognized the fact that it probably was about that point of time where we needed to look at the potential of annexing it. But should we take a look at that, we wanted to reach out to the property owners to the west of that area in blue and see if they would also be willing to annex at the same point in time. And so the 3 properties in red agreed that now would be a good time to annex, and those are the Bilek Enterprise properties that we identified. So this is a city-initiated request, and all of the properties, the property in blue and the property in red, are kind of what we're looking at for the annexation request here.
Could you use your cursor and show what the annexation requests are for? Show me the
So
properties.
this is blue, this
Right, I
is
see
right
that.
away,
That's
yeah.
the ones
And
in-
this is a vacant piece of property. This is what's commonly called the atrium as you drive up North Government Way.
Yeah.
And this is Tumblestone, farther to the south.
So is it the Bileks own all 3?
All 3, correct. At the time of the initiation of this annexation, kind of noticing agency comments, et cetera, the properties were all within what was called the area of city impact in what's known as the exclusive tier, which means that the city, based on that agreement, it was envisioned that the city would annex that property at some point in the future, being adjacent to the city. Since that time, through last fall and all the way up to December 31st, the city worked with Kootenai County to create a new area of impact. These properties are still within that area identified that should be annexed into the city. So when looking at an annexation, the first thing that you look at is a zone designation. And the zone designation that the Bileks are requesting is commercial for all 3 properties. And so we need to walk through those same 5 standards of approval to see if that zone map amendment to commercial makes sense. So with relationship to the first 2 standards of approval, does this need additional studies or plans? And are there additional conditions that need to be placed? And staff does not believe any additional studies, plans, or conditions are required. The next 3 are, again, the amendments to the zone map are consistent with the future land use map and are consistent with the Hayden Comprehensive Plan. Are they consistent with the zone map and the zone district's purpose and intent? And are they consistent with the neighborhood context? So looking at the future land use map, both the old future land use map shown here again under the old comprehensive plan, as well as the one that was adopted by council, this strip between Highway 95 and Government Way on the future land use map in both cases actually shows up as commercial. So it is consistent with the future land use map. The commercial land uses of the old comprehensive plan identify that it allows for most types of businesses. Small retail businesses, service-oriented businesses, professional offices constitute the majority of commercial activity in the city. So today's use is a retail service establishment as well as general office that exist on site today. The comprehensive plan goals and policies can be found in your staff analysis beginning on page 4 and in their entirety in the appendix. I did not go through them in detail as part of this summary for the presentation. The zone district's purpose and intent is the district definition for commercial in the zone designation as well as the future land use are almost synonymous. Office, service, retail is what's expected in commercial. And they have design standards for front setbacks and rear setbacks and flanking streets and lot coverages and what have you. And all of those are met by the current buildings that are on site. So none of them would become non-conforming should this annexation request be granted. So then with the consistent with the neighborhood context, let's kind of do the visual. If I'm standing at the southern end of Government Way, the southern side of that blue, looking northward, you're going to see the Tumblestone property to the west, and you'll see what will become Hayden Canyon on the east, looking north. So this is about the middle of the proposed annexation area in front of that building that we called the atrium offices. Again, looking northward up Government Way. And then on the north of the Bielik Enterprises property, those three properties in the red square, if you look south, you look through that vacant piece of property, headed south, and you can see across Highway 95 and down Government Way. And then if you go all the way to the north end of the blue proposed annexation area, up at the intersection of West Bakel Road and face south, you see a hill on the east side of the road, and you see Marks Marine on the west side of the road. So we received agency comments, again, that 18 to 20 plus agencies we normally send to, and most of them provided with no comments. We did get a follow-up letter in support in the file from Lakes Highway District from their board. North Kootenai Water and Sewer District is the water purveyor of the Bielik properties, and they have an intent and willingness to continue to serve them water. And the Coeur d'Alene Airport requested an navigation easement over the property. And what we've done in the past is made that a condition of the annexation request. It would be recorded prior to the ordinance coming forward, should the city council approve the request. We did have 2 additional public comments as a part of the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing noticing. Bronzebow on behalf of Hayden Canyon 64 LLC was in support, and Elv Cooper, which was a landowner, was also in support. We did not receive any additional public comments as a part of the noticing for the City Council public hearing. Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval with staff recommended conditions of approval for the request for the zone to be commercial should the annexation be approved by council. So we did have a few recommended conditions of approval. The first would be that Bielik Enterprises enter into an annexation agreement with the city. The second is that at the time of future site and/or subdivision development, the applicant should comply with the requirements of Northern Lakes Fire Protection District. That there will be a grant of roadway drainage, utility, and snow storage easement and dedications of right-of-way on North Government Way in accordance with the city's adopted transportation plan and adopted intersection improvements. Nothing shall preclude the city from requiring additional right-of-way at the time of development in accordance with adopted transportation standards and plans at the time of development. That's what we've had in all of our standardized annexation agreements for some time. At the time of future development, sewer shall be extended to the boundaries of the property in accordance with the sewer master plan, and all future site plans and existing or future buildings shall connect to municipal sewer within a year of sewer availability. And then that navigation easement shall be recorded as a condition of the annexation agreement and prior to publication of the ordinance as requested by the Coeur d'Alene Airport. And those are motions that the city council could come to at the conclusion of deliberations. I stand for questions.
Any questions for Donna? Matt?
I do have one. Thank you, Mayor. Regarding the North Kootenai Sewer District, they are the water purveyor. Are these properties currently within their sewer district?
It's the North Kootenai Water District, and they replied as part of their water, not as part of the sewer. So they'd be serviced by sewer from the city at some point in the future.
So no, my question is, and maybe I didn't state it clear, are these properties, if they're within the North Kootenai Water and Sewer District, and if they're providing water, do they have the right first to provide sewer to them?
They did not state that, and today the properties are currently on septic systems.
Okay, so the only reason I bring that, because we said within 1 year, when sewer comes available through the city of Hayden, that they'll have to hook up. I don't want to see a dispute saying, hey, you can't do that because North Kootenai Water District has the right to provide sewer to those properties because of their boundaries. So has that been clarified?
I don't
believe
sewer,
North
do they?
Kootenai Water District is a sewer district, nor do they provide sewer.
They just do water.
I thought I read where, in their title, they are.
Am I wrong, Donna?
I think they have areas that they provide both, but I don't think in this area they provide both.
I apologize.
Yeah, I just don't want to see a conflict saying, hey, that's our turf, so, you can't force them to go on city sewer if they have the right, although they probably don't have the infrastructure there anyway, and maybe a moot point. But I just wanted to bring that up to make sure that we're okay with it.
If it's a condition of approval that they join the city sewer service within a year, then that's their obligation to make sure that they would de-annex from North Kootenai Water and Sewer if it were even an issue.
Okay.
That North Kootenai Water and Sewer were identifying them as a property to provide sewer service to.
Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Matt?
That's it?
All right, David?
Hi, Donna. I have a question about that navigation easement. So does that mean those properties currently don't have a navigation easement?
That's correct.
What are the implications of that sort of easement?
So an navigation easement identifies that you are near an airport. In some cases, if you're like on a hill, you have to fill out additional forms because of the envelope of a flight, but in this case, most likely not. So it's pretty much just to identify that you're near an airport, you're going to hear airplanes and air traffic noise. And in this area, you will hear it because they're close to that runway.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I just wanted to make sure this is somewhat of a standard procedure for the airport within its reach.
Yes.
Correct.
Anything else? Ed? Nope. Tom?
Yeah, Donna, so annexation was offered on all the properties to the west of Government Way up to Bakel, correct?
Correct.
So, just curious why Marks Marine and then the property to the south declined to annex? Did they give a reason?
They had several. Marks Marine predominantly accesses off of Bakel, not off of Government Way. And the second main reason is that there is no sewer out in that neck of the woods at this point in time. That was the second reason that they gave us. So it just didn't make sense to do it now.
Okay.
Any other questions? Abby, do we have any public comment for this hearing?
No, ma'am.
Does anyone in the audience wish to provide testimony? Okay, sounds like it's a no. So at this point, we'll close the public hearing, and council can now choose to deliberate and/or make a decision.
It would be useful to do some deliberation previous to a motion, since you have some standards of approval to consider, and to apply the facts that you've heard to those standards of approval before a motion is made.
Yes. Tom, you want to start? Any comments, thoughts?
Apart from the fact I was curious why the other two lots declined to annex in, this seems pretty straightforward. I mean, if you've got some light industrial going on and we're already on the other side of Government Way, it seems logical to me that these properties would want to annex into the city. So I have no objections to this.
Donna, do we have the slide with the
Well, that's what I was looking for.
standards?
I'm not
Just
sure
so we
it
can
made it
talk
to
to them a
this
little bit?
Is that good enough? Okay.
No, it's
Ed,
not
you
in
wanna
that one, but
continue?
Maybe I
it's
can
in
kind
this
of
one over here.
synopsis it up without them probably.
Okay.
It sounds from the presentation as though staff feels that they have met the standards of approval, and it sounds like they have as I look at them now. And also, as was brought up on the previous one, I believe the city will now be receiving tax revenue from them, which is always nice, and especially for those residential compared to bringing commercial. Although it's not a very large swath, it does tilt to probably a very minor degree the burden from residential to commercial. But I do believe they've met the standards of approval.
David?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, everything fits within what the zone map looks like. It flows, it's contiguous, and there aren't any red flags. Makes sense.
Okay, Matt?
Yeah, I see the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended approval of this annexation, and that the standards of review and evidence of record finding for approval of zone map amendment, I'm looking on page 2, I believe have all been fulfilled. So, that's my point.
Okay. At this point, would anyone like to make a motion, and do they need Donna to throw the cheat slide up?
I'll do it.
All right.
I'll make a motion to approve PZE 24-0133 North Government Way and Bielik Enterprises LLC annexation request with a zone designation of commercial with staff recommended conditions of approval, finding the request is in accordance with the standards of Hayden City Code based upon testimony received at the City Council public hearing and the record of the request.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Abby, may we get a roll call vote, please?
Council President Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember DePriest?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson?
Yes.
All right, that concludes our 2 public hearings. I forgot something very small before we roll into new business. I wanted to present each of our re-elected and our elected council members with a memento that
Oh,
you
thank you.
can have on your wall.
Wow.
This is their, their newspaper articles of their intent. And just for public record, I kept all 4 of the candidates,
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Just in case?
just in case, but I presented to the folks at once. So those are just a little gift and a thank you for running for office. All right, so with that, we're going to move on to new business. The first action item is to consider, well, not to consider, but to elect a council president. This is one where the mayor steps back and council discusses.
Mayor, I'd like to start off as the current president of the council. I've had the privilege of being the council president for the last 4 years, and I think it's time to pass the baton.
Oh.
And I think it's a good thing that we do share in responsibilities in the city, and it's nice to have a new role and do some changes. This kind of keeps things fresh. So I'd like to nominate Ed DePriest as our council president.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Is there another person that desires, or would someone like to just second for Ed to be?
Ed, how do you feel about that?
I'm fine.
Man of many words.
What, you want me to do my usual and really go like something
No-
long,
no speech?
soliloquy or whatever?
You know, Ed, if you become council president, you gotta moderate the tempo.
Yeah,
a little
really
bit.
chill it out a little bit. Yeah, well, okay, there you go. I appreciate the nomination of Council President Roeder very much, and I would appreciate the opportunity to serve in that position long enough. Okay, and I thank Council President Roeder and our new council member for the second. You need me to go any more?
All right. So
Thank you.
All right, so do we have a second? Or is there any more discussion?
Anyone else? I'm reserved because as I'm taking in this new seat, I want to let the dust settle, allow everything to flow the proper way
Fair enough.
before I shake anything up.
All right. Tom, any thoughts?
I think that maybe this is an opportunity to Ed to show a leadership position when if he's called upon to lead a city council meeting, and I hope and I pray that if you get that opportunity, that you will be calmer sometimes.
I am who I am.
With that being said, I'd like to second that.
All right, so is this something we vote on, Abby? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, so there is a motion, there is a second, and I assume we can just do a roll call vote.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember DePriest?
Oh, man. Yes.
Councilmember Erickson?
With
Yes.
gusto.
Council President Roeder?
Yes.
Ed, if you can't vote for yourself, how
But I didn't know if I was allowed to be honest with you. You always come into that, can you vote for yourself?
you can?
All right, so our next action item is to consider, City Council to consider a sewer collection system capitalization fee study with FCS. FCS did our last study for fees, and Lisa, do you have anything you want to add?
Just wanted to, for the record, for those members of the public who may have not seen the memo, that the city has, over the course of the number of years, made improvements to our existing system since we set our capitalization fee. This will be your connection fee to the system. And council may recall one of our most significant investments was this last summer where we improved the H6 gravity force main and installed a new lift station. So in order to recap or receive those fees back to us, or the cost of the system is divided by the number of connections that support that system, and that is what the connection fee is based off of. And in order to create a defensible rate, we'll use rate setters such as FCS to produce a record that we could, if in the event we're sued, could take to court with us. So the city council used FCS the last time they did this, when we came out of the court case with the who was it? NIPCA, thank you. I wanted to say Harps, but it wasn't Harps. With NIPCA to help set that rate. So it seems proper for us to go back since they have a general understanding of our system.
Thank you. And just for council's clarity, it was in the memo, this contract is not to exceed $18,530 without prior approval. Is there any discussion? Any questions? Someone want to make a motion?
Questions? So just to be sure and have it on the record, we budgeted for this, right?
Yeah, we knew that at the completion of the H6 improvements that it was the proper time to do that. So we budgeted for it, not knowing exactly when that was happening, but anticipating it would be in this fiscal year. So, yes.
Any other questions?
No.
Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the sewer collection system capitalization fee study with FCS.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? May we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Erickson,
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer,
Yes.
Council President DePriest,
Yes.
Councilmember Roder.
Yes.
Very good. All right, our next item is for JUB Engineers Incorporated, Incorporated authorization for a contract amendment for a sewer capitalization fee support services. And this one is to not exceed $27,000 to update our city's sewer GIS data and incorporate sewer system changes since the last update, which was in 2019. Any questions for staff, council? Or does staff have anything they want to add?
I'll add that since 2019, we have over 30 projects and developments that have happened in the city. And those improvements that are associated with those developments and those projects are part of the cost that goes into this FCS study. So those need to be brought in, get them into our GIS system, which we need to do anyway for our mapping and our modeling down the road. So it gets our system updated as well as provides the background information associated that goes into the FCS study.
Thank you, Alan.
I do have a question, Mr. Mayor. So I've been here for 2 years now and have listened to proposals for and voted on other various projects related to the city's sewer processing and collection facilities. It's all on record, I assume. So what is it that we're getting above and beyond current city records in terms of information to support the rate study?
Well, we get an upgraded GIS map, which is what we use to do our modeling for our for sewer master planning. We also, in that, what they do an analysis of the cost of the pipes that go in the ground, how many linear feet of pipe, manholes, all that gets quantified in that GIS system. And then that information gets rolled into the model. And also, the data on that is quantified with the date and the year and the information tied with that, such as manhole depth, sewer size. Then we get to use that information for our infrastructure maintenance. In other words, we can tie that to when it was cleaned last, what we found, what are problem areas, and all that gets built upon over the coming years. So it provides an area to provide all that sort of information data.
So they're basically coalescing all the information on size, age, maintenance,
Location.
capacity, physical location, all into one model. And will they be doing that from records that the city already has every time work has been done?
Records that we have received from developers and from our own projects, yes.
So, forgive me, I don't intend to be aggressive,
No,
but
that's
do you think that $27,000 is an appropriate amount for doing this job?
It's a pretty big lift, putting it together. It also, at this point, it's going to upgrade the model as well, because that model is obsolete as far as software goes. And I think we all understand when software gets to a certain age, it is no longer a suitable package.
So part of the work will be updating the software of the GIS model.
It's not supported anymore that our model sits in.
All right, thank you.
I think if I can tag along on what Councilmember Schaefer just asked or discussed, hypothetically, if you want to even go that route, could staff even do it? And if they could do it, what kind of a workload and dollar, could that even be?
We do not have a staff member who has the expertise or the time to complete this work. Mainly the time. It's not we couldn't train somebody or find somebody, but we don't have that currently.
Right.
Well, and I think the liability risk also is another NIPCA suit if we're not hiring an expert for
For an
the
error,
principal calculation.
Right.
That isn't an in-house employee.
Like, it's one of these things where, again, you're almost required to go to a an impartial, shall we say, non-involved source, whether,
Yeah, an unbiased, neutral,
Yeah.
objective expert.
right,
This is a cheaper investment than litigation.
yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Starboard side, any questions?
Yeah, Alan, is it typical to wait 6 years to do this, or is it in the
This kind of
ballpark?
falls in line with when we would do this. We would do, we do like a sewer master plan, try to do that around 5 years, so we're in that timeframe.
Yeah, so we're in that
This will
window.
also roll into, if we move to that path, this would be a cost we would have to absorb at that point if we don't absorb it here, so it's just a matter of which apple, or which cart's coming first, right? The hard portion of the cart, so.
Yeah, so,
This is driving it today. If we were to do the master plan update, that would drive it tomorrow, so. And so it's right on schedule with that type of a update.
yeah, so I just want to repeat what I heard. So not only is the software update necessary, but after all of the lift station and all the work that's been done, getting that updated is necessary to protect us from any sort of errors that would result in litigation. So it's a necessary evil at this point. Yeah,
Yeah, it's an operational thing for the city
Right.
staff as well.
yeah. Okay.
Matt?
Yeah, having been through the NIBCA lawsuit, going to the Supreme Court, getting into 2 mediation sessions, what we're dealing with here is really critical, because the information that has to be derived goes into calculating the sewer capitalization fee that we will charge. And that is a cap fee to deliver the sewage from our ratepayers to HARBs. And so we have to justify that, and there's a key term for that, it's called equitable buy-in. You have to prove that equitable buy-in number is correct, and so we have to do this. This is, in my opinion, not cheap, but it's money well spent to protect ourselves from future lawsuits. So it's critical, we got to do it, and I support it 100%.
Okay. If that's everyone's questions, does anyone like to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion that we approve item 5C, authorizing contract with JUB Engineers for sewer capitalization fee support services.
This one's for FCF.
No,
no, he's right.
He's on it.
Sorry, you were right.
I'll second.
You're keeping us on our toes.
I jumped off.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? May we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember Erickson?
Yes.
Council President DePreez?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Okay, our last new business item is an agreement with Wake Media LLC for communications and information technology support.
Do you want me to talk?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Lisa.
So this particular one, the reason it's not in the consent agenda, given either the amount or the request, is simply because it's not technically budgeted. This is one of those that, as mentioned in the budget development process, if we felt it was a good idea, we'd bring it forward. So before you is the contract with Wake Media to assist the city with some, what I would consider more of an umbrella or master agreement for as directed, as needed IT communication and support systems. As mentioned in previous meetings, there's been a need or a desire from some of our commissions to develop some programs that are supportive of their endeavors, to include such as the memorial, what do we call it?
Pavers.
With the pavers, yeah, so where you can get on and see an interactive map of pavers that have been paid for, donated in remembrance of any fallen officers or military, and this would be a similar action that we would use this company for, and as well as any other supportive materials. So this particular contract being under not exceeding $5,000 would give us that tool to use to build those. So we would be using our fund balance to pay for this, which is, given the cost, is not a concern to me on my behalf, so.
Thank you, Lisa. The only thing I'll add is we had a previous contract last fiscal year with MySite Marketing for the same service. So even though this company's new, the service being provided is not.
Do you need a motion, Mr.
That'd be
Mayor?
swell, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I motion that we approve item 5D, agreement with Wake Media LLC for communications and information technology support.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? May we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Erickson?
Yes.
Council President DePreez?
Yes.
Councilmember Roder?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move into our reports. Lisa is going to give us a 2025 year in review presentation.
Promised you this at the last meeting, and you postponed me till tonight, so you get it tonight. Give me a second here.
Can we
I
postpone you to next December?
Stop.
No, just kidding.
Ouch.
Now I gotta figure out where I put it.
It's titled
So-
1.13.
Yeah, so you got the presentation in the packet of materials so that you could come prepared if you have any questions. But typically what I like to do when we're looking at the culmination at the year end, unfortunately this is kind of culminating with a year beginning, is a reverse kind of review mirror look at some of the places that we've come over the year. And really to find some pride from this whole city on the work that's been accomplished. And then to pivot from that position into a year looking forward so that council can see some of the driving factors for what will likely be coming before you in the coming year. And so we'll just kind of go through all the departments. And there will be a few that get overlooked, and it's not intentional, it's just because their work is sort of ebbing and flowing across multiple departments. So within the finance department, just a summary review worth noting. Beyond a big transition from on-site software system to a cloud-based system, we also accomplished over the course of this 1 year, 3 fiscal year audits, with the final audit coming to you in March, but the majority of that work happening this last year. Yes.
So are we up to date now? We caught
We
up?
will be in March when that's tentatively planned to be delivered to you guys.
Great.
We are actually meeting the 25 schedule for an audit, so right now we are realistically caught up.
Excellent.
So.
On time.
And as included in my report, you saw a financial statement that was prepared by my office in concert with finance that does provide not only your month-to-month financial information, but also fund balance, something we've not been able to do up until more recently. So a fund balance of all your funds. So if you don't have that, I printed off some copies. I'm happy to give those out. And in addition to that, we've initiated the financial policy, which is sort of a culmination of a myriad of different policies that the city has adopted over the course of the last 20 years, and then building also a reserve policy. So something I've challenged the council and myself with when I started here, and now feel comfortable and confident that we can move forward with bringing that forward to you. So I look forward to seeing that in your hands here coming soon. So we jump into recreation. This is a lot of numbers, is why I gave this to you ahead of time. I just want to do a couple takeaways that when we look across our recreation user profile, right, who's coming and who's playing, what we're seeing is on our youth programs, we're seeing a fairly decent split between residential and non-residential participants. Non-residents are slightly above residents, but overall, we're seeing support by a community beyond Hayden for our rec program. And then in addition to that, because our programs are run so successfully and people enjoy them, we're seeing increases. So what we're finding is this sort of kind of growing out of our shoes a little bit here, and some of the things that we'll have to tackle looking ahead will be how do we either change our programs to be more reflective of the restrictions that we do have, or how do we grow? And some of that will be compartmentalized into specific programs, but overall, just know that our rec program is continually being supported within our community and beyond. Adult leagues down. Guys, we need to get the adults out there, so do what you can. But overall, we're still seeing, relatively as we look year to year, circumstantially, holding steady. Go ahead.
Can you back up just a second? So we had, for the year we had 3,258 players. And go to the next one. We had almost 1,000, so we had 5,000 participants. Wow.
Yeah. And it's a really a hats off and a testament to
Yeah.
how the rec program is run, starting from the director downward. This is also our department that sees the most temporary employees. So we're always, when we come to you in budget year and we're saying, well, how many coaches do we need, or how many temporary employees do we need? And you see that notch going up, you'll understand why. Why are we needing that? Well, our programs are growing. And you know, as we bring on more rec facilities, like we did this last year with Crawford Park, it's a direct representation of that growth coming forward in the form of more participation. One of the areas that maybe is not as known, but it's good to talk about, is our special interest programs. These are programs that we contract with programs or coaches or vendors to offer a variety of different opportunities to engage in recreation. And so it might be ice skating or dance, but it's still important when we think about recreation being supported across all of our community. And so, again, similarly, like you saw in our other programs, that split kind of being represented here, where non-residents kind of squeak out a little bit higher than our residential participation or participants, but overall supported when we see the number of participants, and it's still growing. Within rec, we also, we kind of have a split between the rec program, but also our city events. This one's a little harder to get a true count when we talk about our city events. So this would be our Hayden Days and some of our programs in the winter, much like it's been shown here. This is our Lights Parade. So we try to do a good job of estimating based on sort of capacity that that facility could hold. And so you'll see that, you know, we have estimated that our events saw about just under 15,000 people, which is significant. And you'll see those events can't be supported without the strong support of our volunteers who help make that happen. So you'll see that at 281 this last year. When we look at our facilities in the reservation, this is also a good indicator of the programs and the facilities that we have being activated by our community. You'll see those supporting an increase in the field reservations, 43%, and a participation of, you know, a 35% increase. So good. This is a healthy response to the investments that you guys make in our facilities being used by the community. Jumping over to community development, this is just a synopsis of the reports that you guys get. You got it last month, so this is just taking from that. What are we seeing happen here? We expect, just so you know, with the way that the economy is, that when you see interest rates being what they are for mortgage rates, you're going to see that closely tie back to the number of requests for new single-family dwellings. So we're seeing a little bit of that starting to happen now comparatively to the previous year, but overall still strong. It's still a strong department. We know that we built into the budget this last year for another planner. We're actively still looking for that planner, but we're also taking to heart the reality that if interest rates stay up, you know, maybe we ought to be thinking about how we can be more resilient. And the last thing we want to do is bring on somebody and then find out that the market doesn't drive that position. So all things that we're considering within sort of long range that I think is worth acknowledging and praising really our staff and our electeds on is the completion of the 5-year update for the comprehensive plan. That in every community, and as you probably all very well know, my background, I jokingly say that I'm a recovering planner, is that the updates to comprehensive plans, even if they're total rewrites or updates, is an extensive and exhausting process. And to get that done in this last year is a testament to your staff and the work that they put together. So if you haven't already, take the time to thank them. So, and then the area of impact agreement. This was a nail biter, I won't lie. 2 years ago, the state legislature passed improvements to Title 50 in this area, where the area of impact required every city in the state of Idaho to go back to the respective county and renegotiate that AOI agreement, area of impact. I they now call it the AI, but with that terminology being sort of overutilized these days, I stay back with AOI. In order for us to even hear the annexation agreement that you wanted to tonight, we had to have that agreement in place by December 31st. And when did the ordinance get signed by the county commissioners? Like 2 days before the end of the year.
And it got recorded on the 31st.
Yes.
That's where I was gonna go, because I know the county was having some issues with it, and I believe that's where we went to that hearing.
Yep.
And so they did, it is all
It-
finished.
Yes, not every city got theirs done in time, but we did. And again, this is a time where you can take a moment in your free time here at the city, or if you're coming in, to thank your staff, because that was a huge undertaking in a short amount of time. And granted, it wasn't the time frame that we were on. We got our stuff to them well in advance of that date, but the county was on a different track for getting that done, and followed through with their commitment to get it done by the end of the year with the like I said, nail-biting finish, right? As the mayor alluded to today, we're talking about football season. This was one of those nail-biters for us.
Lisa, just a
Yes.
clarification on this subject. So as I understood it, was Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene that the county had the problems with in their area of impacts.
They had problems with everybody's. It wasn't respective of anyone. I mean,
Okay, so they did come back with directives to Hayden on changes?
again, a dose of gratitude to our staff and working with the county staff and the BOCC is they asked for things in order to help what I like to refer to as reducing the friction. So many times things get stuck because somebody has to carry it from point A to point B, and our staff did a very good job, Donna specifically, in taking that friction away and making it easy for the county to get ours across the finish line. So some of the cities didn't have that level of staff, and they'll be working through that process again with the county this next year, but ours is a true testament, a hat off to Donna and her team up there, so.
Before you go to the next slide, could you explain the code enforcement column and what those 4 numbers mean and what that's about? I don't understand.
Which one, where are we at?
It
Sorry.
says code enforcement column.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So those are ones that got open in the last year, ones that were closed. The prosecutor, as I understand it, and if I get this wrong, Donna can interject, is simply that when we get done and cannot, through our own tools within our toolbox, get compliance, then we hand it over to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor is struggling in those 4 cases to just even connect with the property owners. So
these are code enforcement violations that we're
or
looking.
some level of code enforcement compliance
Okay,
we're
that's
seeking.
what I wasn't
Yeah.
sure of. So what's the difference between open, closed, and city?
Help me with the city one, I don't recall.
So, an open violation is a violation that we're currently working with the property owner on to resolve, and working through that process. Closed violations are those violations that were opened in the last year and have closed, so they've met compliance requirements. And the city, so the 28 that are open, 4 of them are with the prosecutor who's trying to get to a property owner to
Oh, right, and then
get
24 is
resolution.
Switzerland.
And the other 24 are with the city trying to get compliance.
So the prosecutor and the city are the 28 that are open,
24.
where they sit right now,
Okay.
so.
Thank you.
When we talk about budget, when we get to that whole conversation, which, it feels like we just got over with it, we're gonna start here in a couple months. We'll be talking about the new growth of construction adding to our tax rolls. As many of you know, we're allowed to take 90% of that value to increase our base levy increase, as long as it doesn't exceed 5% or 8% overall. This will come into play in that regard. So you start to see that valuation being added to the city's overall value, base value for taxation, and it definitely helps. So this new construction will come on the rolls in this next year, theoretically. The commercial for sure, light industrial for sure, but single-family dwellings is a little different, and I'm happy to talk about the why about that, maybe offline. But either way, that's what we're seeing when we talk about base levy, or our total valuation coming up in the next discussion of budget. So when we break apart our permits, you can kind of see there's been, and there always has been, much ado about the residential multifamily, and you'll see that we still remain at 0. So duplexes. Typically, we get 1 or 2 duplexes, but this year, none. And single-family homes generally right now are the ones that bring the most permits in any given year. So when you look at non-residential, those are going to be your commercial permits, your industrial permits, and possibly even residential non-residential. So like your garages, is that a true statement, Donna? No, okay, so no, don't include that. And then the other, which is, it's just a fun one to talk about, and that's the building permit that we had to pull, the city had to pull for the H6 lift station.
So there's no number under residential multifamily, that's
Yeah,
zero?
it's just 0,
Okay.
sorry. It might be on there, it might have just come off the page. So another element of community development is looking at, okay, well, what are we doing on the economic side of things for businesses? And you'll start to see that we've looked at new or expanded businesses, 12 new, 3 expanded, 1 relocated. And on the major and minor subdivisions, 10 and 13 respectively, that were applied for, correct? Not necessarily platted all the way through. And then when we look at workload, you know, not only are we looking at what's revenue coming in, but what is the actual workload being processed through the department. You know, when we're talking about all the other applications that go through community development, 41 additionals. So it's a busy department. I mean, if I had to say anything in sort of looking at that rearview mirror, they were busy all year long. So.
And Lisa, to that point, for our taxpayers, finance, community development, recreation, they're all departments of 4 people.
Yeah, the city has roughly around 30 to 35 full-time employees. So when you think about the workload being spread over all of those employees, your employees, they work long hours, they get a lot done in the day, and, you know, as part of my leadership has been, it's like we get you for the hours we get you, go home and be a person on the other end of that so you can come back and work hard again the next day. Yeah.
13 major subdivisions, what's the break point on minor?
So that would, to me, it would be over 4, correct?
No, it's 5 acres.
Oh, 5 acres. So,
Oh,
size.
it's acreage, not number of units. So there's 13 subdivisions over 5 acres that are in the works right now.
In one phase or another, yep.
Okay.
All good questions. Ready to move on to Public Works? This is our largest department. It covers a huge, expansive area over the city. Literally, they cover the city. When we think about the Public Works Department, we really think about it in a couple different areas. We have administration, which is our like key staff that work out of City Hall, and then we'll have our Streets Department and our Parks Department that make up the remainder of that. When we think about the completions of projects in this last year, many of you have heard this or been part of this process and probably can recall all the hoorays and the high fives as we navigated the year here, but they're worth renoting, and that is that the city was, you know, given the option, something I know the Highway District hoped for 50 years, to purchase the property that we were able to buy the buildings from the Lakes Highway District. And because of the foresight that council had in this and the support that you gave your administration, we were able to additionally work with the county on buying the adjacent 4 acres to the south of that. This particular accomplishment secured our future for this department for the remainder of this decade and many more to come. So that is a hats off moment, proud moment, exciting moment for us. We've secured our current future and our 50 years down the road theoretically. So that land, if you recall, took us to the process of selling a 5-acre piece of land that we had on Dakota Street. That was a piece of property that the city had invested in about 10 years ago in order to move facilities that are over behind here in McIntyre Park to that land, but because of the opportunity that came with the Lakes Highway District, we were able to sell that and purchase this one. It wasn't quite tit for tat, meaning we didn't bring in enough money to cover the full expense of that, but it narrowed the cost purchase by, from, you know, what would have been a couple $1 million down to just a couple $100,000.
You offhand know what the city paid for that Dakota property when they purchased it?
Yeah, it was somewhere around $385,000.
And we sold it for what?
Just under 1.8.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, but I
No,
can
it's
check
a
back with you. That's my
ballpark,
recollection.
1.5.
Yeah. 2015 is when they purchased it, and I think it was right around 385,000-ish.
1.4-ish.
Well, I think it's worth, I guess we could say, is that we bought the land for about $7 a square, well, we bought the land for $7 a square foot, and we sold the land for roughly $9.50 a square foot, so we did good. And as a result of the purchase of the buildings, because if council remembers, and for the benefit of our new council member, the city had the option of buying the buildings, but the land didn't come with the buildings. The land was owned by the county under the airport ownership, and so we purchased the buildings for roughly a quarter of the cost it would have been to create new buildings. Now, we got some aged buildings, but we were able to take a turnkey operation from one system to another without a lot of investment, but we did have to make some, and those are noted here on this page when it relates, as I mentioned, the improvements or investment made to that facility. So much of our money that we had saved for and were able to, we invested out there to create a more usable space. And I mean, I'm not going to speak for the guys. I think they could all would all appreciate anybody who wants to go out there and see the facility. They would love to show you around, and I'm hoping that in that opportunity, they'd be beaming with pride over the opportunity to be out there now. So, you've heard me talk a lot about street maintenance and a way to sort of get back or crawl back in some deferred maintenance that the city, that I took over when I took over my position here, and much of that was just looking at how many street lane miles are we maintaining a year, and how can we take our maintenance dollars that are limited. They're really most of our maintenance dollars come from property tax and money shared by the state, and invest those in a prudent way that really promulgates, I think, forward what our citizens expect of us. They would like good roads that don't have potholes and still maintain a level of pride and ownership. So we, in concert with that statement, that you'll see some of the street maintenance that's been done, and you'll see that we are getting to that approximate 19 to 20 lane miles of chip seal a year that we need to get to maintain that 7 to 10 year time frame of maintenance. So we're making strides there, and that is really, again, a testament to your staff and the work that they're putting in to try to show good faith effort that the streets that you guys have taken on, that they that you've entrusted them to, they are investing those dollars wisely.
Lisa, do you know what happened to those missing streetlights? Do you know, like,
Which ones?
I don't know, it says replace 6 missing streetlights.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, thanks.
Stolen?
Really, where'd they
Damaged?
go? Good question.
Did, like,
No,
trees
so-
knock over the lights?
Yeah,
or-
I'd be happy to.
Wind?
So when the city, we have, and you'll learn about this when we go through budget, but we have a special fund that the city took out I'm going to draw a blank on the name. We took out money basically through a levy on just properties along Government Way to do the investments that made Government Way the way it is now.
Got it.
And in that process, they put in all the streetlights that are there, and over the course of time and under the previous administration, when a streetlight was taken out by a vehicle or damaged by some means, they weren't replaced. And it was my opinion that our property owners are paying for, and are every month or every year paying for that investment being made. It's our obligation to go back and replace those. So we brought before council probably late summer-ish, early fall, a proposal to replace a certain number of those. We couldn't do all of them all at once, but, and so we've replaced all of them, and one has already been taken out. So,
Really?
yes. How many days? 8 days?
In 2 days.
Where was it?
8 days. It was 8 days.
Peak Fitness,
Where was it?
in front of Peak Fitness.
Oh,
So,
maybe we need
you'll hear this a
concrete
lot in
barriers.
if you happen to serve in any cities, and I've worked for a lot of smaller cities across northern Idaho, that generally street departments don't love things in the middle of streets, like trees and lights, but we planned ours that way, so a lot of times those get damaged or then they have to be replaced. Okay, moving on to Public Works, unless there's any other questions about streets. Public Works is another major sector of our public works facility, and this is where the council may recall, and if not, I'm going to be so excited to remind you of our major investment that started with a novel idea supported by our legal counsel and our staff to engage in a public-private partnership with landowners and developers who needed to exercise an expansion within the gravity sewer main, force main, and a new lift station for the H6 basin. And that project was roughly $20 million-ish, maybe a little less. And we partnered with the developers that make up a majority of the Hayden Canyon subdivisions, and we're able to essentially come together and kind of co-build this facility. And that will hopefully come to you guys in a meeting soon to accept all of that infrastructure through a resolution. So we're looking forward to bringing you that. It was a big project. It was a big deal, and it's a pretty exciting place to be at this point now, where we're saying we're done with that for the most part. And in addition, anytime we think about public works in the sewer side, we're thinking about how are we maintaining that system, how are we keeping it operational. And council may recall we invested in a sewer van, I guess, of sorts, a TV van, and you'll see that it's been out working. That CCTV is out there putting cameras in our sewer lines and inspecting those sewer lines to make sure that they are not leaking or are still performing well. And then as part of that as well, we typically in cities will have rotations of when sewer mains are flushed. So that way we make sure there aren't any issues that could potentially bubble up. And we were just talking about today how I've seen 2 sewer geysers, and they're not fun to have to go through. So, thankfully here, not here, but elsewhere. And then, as council recalls and has heard multiple times over the course of last year, we started the dissolution process, and that's been initiated, something that was a number 1 priority I learned of the council previous of my taking over administration. And to see that work go where it's at now is, it's promising that we'll get to the finish line. So unless there's any questions on the rearview mirror, we're going to turn to the windshield here. So we're going to look ahead. When, I think we'll spend some time and possibly suggesting at some point a workshop with council and administration to set some priorities over some of the work. We don't need competing priorities, so we want to make sure that we're all working with the same level of understanding and not creating friction amongst the staff as well as council. So as we look at these are mainly staff initiated, recognizing that we owe maybe a more detailed and in-depth conversation with council about how we want to prioritize this. But I'm going to break it up into the respective departments. So when we think about administration, what are the things we're working on? You heard some of that tonight, and you've heard it previously, trying to complete some of the work that we started. McIntyre Park is going through the process right now of what we call a master planning effort. And the hope of that is that at the culmination of the termination of the Urban Renewal Agency, that money that's been allocated or appropriated that they think they're going to get, that they would wish to invest in McIntyre Park, will be able to do so. So, but in order to get to that place, we have to first all agree on what that plan looks like. And that process is exciting, it's invigorating. We're looking forward to seeing the completion of that, and then those dollars being invested wisely back into that facility. I mentioned earlier under the financial update, the financial policy. This is really mostly done. The only other area that still needs some work on is our investment policy, one that we don't have or didn't have previously. So I'm hoping to bring that to you guys soon. The capitalization update, you heard that tonight. That's an exciting endeavor to get done. So that's taking all the investments, the 20 million plus whatever projects were done ahead of the H6 basin, and making sure that we're getting back out of that, the cost of that improvement back to the connecting users of that system. So those would be new future users. And then one thing you haven't heard yet, but it's something I'm hope to present to you at some point, is the space analysis. It's really getting more disciplined about, okay, well, we're here and we talk all the time, and you hear it during budget, and you hear it from staff, and you maybe even hear it amongst the leadership about, well, if we need to bring another person in to do X, the question is, where do we put them? We are maxed out in our space here. So one thing I'd like to tackle is, okay, how can we get in a place where we can really study what our space needs are so that as things align, for example, the Urban Renewal Agency looking at a potential new building at the old Owl Cafe site, is there a way that we can dovetail into that discussion some needs analysis that can be planned for, or that at least be built in open space and not planned out space yet, but for the idea that we can come in and retrofit it later with our own dollars. So those are all priorities of the admin side of things for now. I'm sure there's be more opportunity to go in more depth later. With parks, really the area, and you've heard about this, is to finish the McIntyre Park Plan, to implement it. That's the key component of our goals for 26, is get it done and let's get going. You know, we've got some major safety issues, especially along Honeysuckle, that we need to address. We've got some buildings that we need to plan for their future, what that space is going to do for us, and we need to get going on that. So that's the exciting part there. You heard tonight on the consent agenda, the Honeysuckle Waterways Grant. This is an opportunity to improve sort of high water and under, some improvements to make an improvement and better the facility out there. So it's not, so right now we're having a lot of spalling concrete that's sort of wasting away out there underwater. And then you've heard this before, and we're excited to bring forward to you the installations of those painted come together bench projects. So
Benches?
on the sewer side of things, the facility plan, the capitalization study, and then the continuation of the dissolution, that will be our main focus. On the streets, facility upgrades, these are things that we budgeted for this next year. We're looking to complete those. And then on the intersection designs, many of you have heard complaints from your constituencies. We hear them as well. And then, of course, we're just seeing a lot of concern with the number of accidents happening at these, that we need to do something. So you'll see us take a large leap of investment into completing some of our at least designs, and then trying to align those design plans with funds to complete those projects. And then you'll see here chip sealing 19.5 lane miles. This is again kind of that jumping up, trying to get to that. Where should we be every year in order to meet our maintenance requirement for that 7-year life cycle of a street? And then outside of streets, but more administratively, but it's kind of its own department now, I guess you could call it, is our law enforcement, really looking at strategic planning along what we're doing there. We have gone through kind of a roller coaster ride over the last 12 months or so. The mayor and I starting that, and then council completing that at the end of the year, and really trying to get more organized around where we're going so that it's not a yo-yo effect on us, especially as we look at budget for fiscal year 27.
Lisa, before you move on, so this past year, we have authorized a minor expansion in HURA with the expectation of funds being used for 4 different intersections along Government Way. I saw only 2.
For this year, we're looking at trying to take advantage of the 2 that already have funds and contracts open for them, with the idea that realistically, those other 2 might come the next year.
Okay, so they're acknowledged as being on deck for some work to be done, but we have other priorities, right? The 2 other take priority right now.
And it's not that I guess you could argue that they are a priority, but it's because we already have a number of concerns for safety in those intersections, and we only have so much staff.
Got it.
Again, if I go back to, I'd love to hire another engineer or another more support administrative staff, but I have nowhere to put them. So we can only look at pacing our projects over that year.
All right, thank you.
On recreation, this is just, it's kind of a neat problem to have, and it's to continue to try to address our continued need for, and the support of our community for our programs, and how do we support our community in that area. And that's something I look forward to challenging our director with and the council with, and then we will likely review our fees associated with non-residents to try to bring some commensurate cost for the subsidies that are made in the recreation department to support, have the non-resident fee come in with a reasonable rate that they're paying for that. So Under community development, this, as council knows, with the completion of the comprehensive plan update, it's a lean in to all things code. And so we'll be looking at, in particular, these are just 3 areas. It doesn't mean that they're the only areas. It's just 3 areas that have been sort of prompted the need for a comp plan update, and those are listed there. There'll probably likely be more, if not already happening at this point. And then, this is under community development, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, and that's the transportation and parks master plan. 2027 will require us, if we're going to keep our impact fees for transportation and parks, we have to reevaluate the impact fee, but we can't do so unless our transportation plans are updated. So those will be questions coming to you likely in this next budget year. And with that, I stand for questions.
Any questions?
Hey, comment maybe.
Go ahead.
With our current law enforcement situation being what it is, and I think I brought this up to you, at a future time, do we maybe want to consider bringing back the impact fees for law enforcement? I think that might be a discussion
Yeah, I think that it's a fair conversation to have as we navigate through the strategic planning exercise that we'll go through in the next, that RFP is, the responses are due by the 21st, I believe. Is that a Wednesday? I think that's the Wednesday. And then the hope would be after that, they come in, that staff would review them to make sure that they're complete and we can accept them as a strong or a complete proposal. And then we'll likely call a special meeting with the Public Safety Commission to review those, make a recommendation, and bring them back to you guys. And then from there, get going, because that's another one where I wish it was 3 months ago or 6 months ago where we're at right now, but
Right.
we are where we are.
Any other questions?
I had a question about recreation. Sounds like potentially they're overwhelmed with all the activities, that sort of thing. Are they open to more activities being added, like different ones, say shooting, fishing, camping?
I think all of those are options, and Susie's here, she can probably speak, so I don't have to speak for her.
Special interest, what we call special interest. And what we do is we contract with instructors, businesses,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then we have standard, city gets 30%, and the contractor gets 70%. And we do a contract, it goes through you, you approve it as a council. And so that just adds to what we offer without us having to do it ourselves.
It's even better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So yes, we actually even have it in our guide, is like, hey, do you teach blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
Contact us and we'll talk about it. And we have a program proposal form we'll give you, and they fill it out, and
I guess the
So
point that Susie's trying to illuminate is that if there's a demand for something, there's a willingness for us to review
Yeah.
whether or not it could become something that we would sponsor on behalf of that vendor who's producing that sport or activity. I think we've vacillated between like paint, what do they call them, like,
we had art and flow.
yeah, art and flow, right? So there, and
Gymnastics, like,
sometimes those aren't maybe economical for the vendor itself, so you'll see those kind of ebb and flow as demand is there. So if there's a demand for something and there's an opportunity for us to co-create an activity, you'll see us jump in.
Okay.
Any other questions? I had one. I noticed a couple of master plans listed, but I thought I heard earlier tonight that our sewer master plan might be coming due.
Yeah, that is definitely one we probably need to look at as well. I need to work with the department on whether or not that's something we'll try to achieve this next year, or if it'll be something that we look at for an
Fiscal
upcoming
28,
27.
27, thank you. All right, Lisa, did you have anything else, like calendar or anything else to go
I
over?
just want to make sure, I'll reiterate again that you have a financial report in your packet that came from me, and if you don't have it, I printed some, I think they're on my desk.
Did you email it to us?
It was in the packet, so it was under the city administrator.
Tonight's council meeting
Yeah.
packet, it was there? Yeah.
And at the bottom of that financial report, something that hasn't been done since I started is giving you your fund balance information. And that is a big, for me, it's a big deal, because you gave me a city to manage, and I've been managing it financially blind for the last 2 years, and so it's exciting to get to the point where we actually have good numbers on where we sit in all of our funds. So I'm happy to answer any questions relative to that, but I want to make sure you know that it is a little different than you've received in the past. And if you need me, I can go grab one.
So that fund balance is accurate now?
It's as accurate as we could get for December 31st of 2025. And, you know,
Page 2,
talking with
Tom.
finance, it's always scary when we give you a number because you think that that number, you know, is the number it'll be next month. And things ebb and flow and change because we run, with a city, it usually runs 60 to 90 days in the rears. So you're still cleaning up. And the way our books have been since I started here, we're still even changing things from the fiscal year that's still open. So not so much in '25, but in the other years for sure.
That's good.
Does anybody want one? If you don't have one, I can get it. You tell me.
Well, it's on page 2, if you guys
Yeah, it's
open
on-
up the
Yep.
administrator
It's on
report
page
calendar.
two.
I see it.
Okay. All right, any other questions for Lisa? All right, we're going to move on to reports for mayor council. I had something for this. Each council member and mayor has served on different boards in the area. And so I guess I'm just asking council, if you want to email me later or tell me now, are there any boards that you'd like to try out, something different? Do you want to shake things up? Do you want to keep consistent with what you've been on?
I'm fine where I am.
I'm cool being in Campio.
Okay. Matt, any thoughts?
I have a term on urban renewal that I think I have another 3 years of yet. So
Okay.
I like being part of that. And as far as the HARBs, I'd like to continue on HARBs also.
Sure. And knock on wood, it'll be end of life here.
Well, that's what we're hoping.
All right, very good. Is it-
Mayor, the only other one that wouldn't, that maybe Councilman Erickson doesn't know about would be the airport board that.
I was going to
Councilman White-
discuss that with
Yeah,
him.
I'm happy to pick up where Sandy left off with that.
What? And I had another option to throw at you. So I figured, is that something I can do offline?
You can talk to them about
Yep.
boards offline.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, thank
I
you.
just we didn't talk about that one in specific, so.
That is true. That is true. All right, very good. So are there any requests for future agenda items by council at this moment? Ed?
Yeah. I don't know if I brought this up before, but I've noticed that Commissioner Matari uses the, I keep calling it the courthouse, the county building, to have his community or town hall meetings. And I'd like to put it on for future discussion, is the ability to possibly use this room for community meetings. I'm having one at the library next week, I guess it is. And I'm trying to understand why it seems the commissioner can use the county building there. I don't know what the logistics or dynamics or whatever it are, but I think this would serve as a much more professional, centralized location for people. You know, heck, close everything up. You know, if we have to alarm something, I can't see how difficult it could be, but I'd like to have that for a future discussion.
Okay. We put that on the agenda in the future.
So for clarification, it would be a discussion regarding any elected then utilizing
Yes.
space for town hall, not just use.
No, yeah, anybody, yeah.
What would be anybody?
Well, any elected.
Well, they could restrain it to elected, but yes, let's be real clear on what the action item is, or what the discussion item is.
Any Hayden elected using chambers for,
But I don't know that it can then be restricted to just electeds. It might have to be appointed, it might have to be commission members. This is a bigger issue, and just because it's being done at the county doesn't mean it's correct.
well, I'm not, that's why we need to have the discussion.
Yeah, you could open up a can of worms you don't mean to accidentally.
Well, we'll have that discussion, I guess, it's just the time to
Well,
have it.
but to the extent that you're asking me to provide a legal opinion regarding whether or not it's appropriate for electeds to use the public space for private town hall meetings, that is privileged information. That is not appropriate for a public discussion unless the council takes a vote to release that privileged analysis to the public. So this is a bigger issue than just having a conversation about it.
You lost me, I'll be
Do
honest.
you want staff to produce an opinion on the use of a public space, city hall for private use by electeds. That would be, to be given to you as a privileged communication. I think that's maybe more or less where we should start than just having a conversation where it's,
What is the privileged
I- if
communication that
any-
we're talking about?
Any legal opinion I provide to you is a privileged
Okay,
communication.
between you, yeah.
It's attorney
Not
client.
what I might discuss in my community meeting.
No,
Yeah, yeah,
nothing
okay.
about what you're discussing.
Okay, yeah.
So if you're asking for a legal opinion on the appropriateness of the use of this space, that would be a privileged communication.
Would that be
that I
like an
would
executive
provide
session thing?
To you, you could review it, it would be in writing, but you can't disclose that to the public without attorney-client privileged communications are held by law by the client. You are all the client.
Okay.
So it requires all of you to take a vote then whether or not you're going to discuss that opinion in public.
Wow, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Does that sound reasonable, council?
Yeah, let's do that as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are there any details that council would appreciate legal counsel providing up front in that analysis?
You're gonna get a written legal opinion from.
Something tells me, yeah.
Okay. All right, fair enough.
Because what it has to outline is the obligation by the city entirely then of if you were to go in one direction or the other, who would be entitled to have the same level of access.
Okay. All right, thank you. Are there any other requests for future agenda items?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to pontificate a little bit here. I did briefly broach Lisa about this right before tonight's meeting, but I've heard a couple questions that make me think that maybe this is an important thing. The city spends money doing studies. The city spends money with engineering firms supporting the work that the city does. And those efforts coincide with obligations the city has in terms of like a 5-year master plan on this or a 20-year master plan on that. I heard you bring up the sewer master plan. And I think back on my private industry experience where we were endeavoring to go into a large-scale multi-million-dollar project, and the project manager will put together what's called a Gantt chart, which shows all the dependencies. And I'm wondering if the council feels it would be important so that we have the big picture of what is happening and where we are in the timeline of like seeing a large Gantt chart of all these different studies that we do, how the money that the city is being spent, where it goes to support what master plan, so that we have we can at least, we're better equipped in terms of knowledge for responding to constituent questions. And does anybody else feel like that's something that would help do our jobs better up here in the dais? Did I explain myself well?
You want the life cycle of the planning efforts, when the last one was approved and when the next one would be slated, in what year to be reviewed?
Yeah, well, not only that, but the city spends a substantial amount of money to a couple different engineering firms in support of the work that it does, as well as we spend a fair amount of money on studies. Sometimes I get lost in the weeds, seeing how that money is spent and where it provides fruit down the road.
So just some sort of like infographic?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't want
The
to.
challenge I have is, right now, just thinking it out, is you'd almost have to do it by fund.
You what?
By fund. Because each fund that we pay for these out of
Right.
has,
Is this too complicated a thing to ask
no,
for?
well, I think it's worth having a conversation offline about ways that I can support what you're looking for. And if you feel in that learning opportunity that it would be good to share with not only the other council members, but also the public, we could have that conversation.
Okay.
I think the other thing that would be fruitful out of that conversation, thinking of new council members, is what plans are they inheriting that are already adopted as a new council member? And are those plans, are they gonna have any say? I'm looking at Councilmember Erickson at this point, having any say in the redevelopment or updating of any of those plans while they're here, or are they stuck with them? Because I think that's really also what you're looking at.
Yep.
I don't know if this is in particular what you're talking about specifically, but it sounds like, you know, we have certain things that come up and we say, okay, we need to do a study on it. And like an individual topic that might not be related to a sewer plan or this or that plan, and we have one of those coming up, type situations. And when we have those, and I know that in particular, there are some who rail at why are you doing that? You know, and I don't know whether, you know, that can be, is part of where you're going, you know, why are we doing these, you know, not specifically related to the sewer or to this or to that, but in particular, this law enforcement, where we have a RFP or whatever out, you know, some people don't want us to do it. You know, how do you explain it? And, you know, in your Gantt chart, are you talking about including,
But the only thing I worry about a Gantt chart is that it's going to be specific to a funding source when we have, what, 14 funds or something like that, so.
And some of
it would
these,
just
and
be
these
really
studies
difficult.
are paid for out of a variety of different funds. So it's not like general fund dollars all the time to pay for a study. Most of the time, it's not.
Case in point, the approval tonight to submit the grant application and the funding support for the Honeysuckle Beach comes out of a different fund, and that memo is supposed to give you guys clarity about where those funds are coming from so that you can track those in the reverse. Now, that said, I'm not saying that we can do a summary level by fund of active contracts. Like you're not gonna make me go back, or you don't want me necessarily to go back and pull up the contracts that we completed last year. So that'd be like the HURA expansion, that one's done. And unless I'm hearing otherwise, we would just look at active ones based on fund.
I'm content, if it's okay with the rest of the council, that I meet with you one-on-one to see if this is even feasible or not, because the first thing, I don't want to add a burden to the staff already, but I'd like to explore the idea of whether or not we could see sort of a big picture of,
Well, I think it's a good exercise. I don't have any problems doing it. It would take some time.
is that all right with you guys?
So Tom, the two things I thought of, one, having something for each of the major projects like law enforcement or sewer upgrades or whatever is good. The flip side of that is, I think we could accidentally go crazy with our demands on staff for the dialing in the correct level of detail.
Exactly, yeah.
'Cause as a guy that's worked a lot of Gantt charts, you can get crazy. I don't know that necessarily by fund, but more by what are we trying to accomplish, and then just tying the different funds in. But even that, again, could drive you guys
I would-
crazy trying to, it'd be
Yeah,
like
I probably
spaghetti.
wouldn't use a Gantt chart just because
Well,
of the level of confusion that can come with
I'm
those.
amazed that you all are dwelling on the phrase Gantt charts. I just brought that up as an
I
example.
don't know if you know this, but I worked for an engineering firm for 10 years, so I know what they are. But my point is I think we can give some summary level information relative to our larger grant, or larger contracts for larger projects, if you're interested.
And I'm a certified PMP, so I could
Oh my
nerd out
gosh.
on you on Gantt charts.
Little did you know.
All right, we're going to move on. Our next agenda item is an executive session, and move into executive session supporting Idaho Code 742061F. And we need a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion that we go into executive session based on Idaho Code 74-2061F.
second?
Motion and a second, and may we get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Erickson?
Yes.
Councilmember Schaefer?
Yes.
Councilmember Roder?
Yes.
Council President DePriest?
Yes.
Okay, to the public, safe drive home while we go into executive session, and let's take a 5-minute break.
We do have one action item, public action item after executive.
Yes, we do.
Saying about wrapping.